Hello everybody and welcome to another Twilight Zone review. Today it is Season 5, Episode 22, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Written and directed by Robert Enrico and starring Roger Jacquet as the spy. His character is given no other name in the episode, and I hope I pronounced those names correctly. This episode, if it feels unique, if it feels more like a short film than a TV episode from the time, that's because it is. This was actually filmed before The Twilight Zone, and this is a film that also wound up winning an Oscar for Best Live Action Short Film. And what happened was Twilight Zone needed one more episode for Season 5. They were one short, and they knew of this film and decided to buy the rights to show it as a Twilight Zone episode. And I have to say it was a good decision, as this episode is very good in quality and it fits the Twilight Zone format well. Another notable thing about this episode is that it is not silent, but it is pretty close. There is very little dialogue and just a little bit of a song singing type thing in this episode as well. So this episode basically starts with a fairly simple premise. Basically, a spy gets caught by the other side and he's supposed to be hung, and we basically start right on the bridge with the man there, and there's a lot of shots of scenery here. There's a slow build in this scene, and this would be a theme throughout the episode. There's a lot of landscape shots, some very good camera work throughout this episode, and you could argue that this might be a bit too slow, but I was satisfied by it. So basically the man's about to be hanged. He looks around and he starts thinking of his home. They show a brief shot of his wife and children, which will be significant at the end of the episode, and the man starts crying, and the lead actor gives a good performance here as well. So eventually they do hang him, and what happens is the rope breaks and he falls into the water, and after a little while of struggling, in a pretty intense and well done scene, he basically breaks free. He's able to untie himself, and it looks like he'll get away, but his relief only lasts basically a few seconds, as of course the soldiers are looking for him and they start shooting at him. So he's trying to swim away, and this is pretty intense, and he does get away, and he's basically swimming through the rapids, but then he runs into some rough waters and they basically push him down, further into the water, and they carry him away, but eventually he does reach the shore, so it looks like he has gotten away. And when he makes it to shore, he's relieved and he starts laughing. I thought this was handled well. He takes a few minutes to just lay on the ground, basically, and then he realizes he has to get home, so he's on the run again, and this is another well done scene with him running through the woods. Basically, he's running to get home. The only thing I would question here is the music. I thought the song earlier in the episode was fine, but the music here just seems a little overbearing, but I guess it's fine. I just would have preferred something more subtle. And there's a slow build-up, and eventually he does make it home, and he sees his wife. And first he just looks at her, then he starts running toward her, and she comes towards him as well, so it looks like all is going to be well. And she stretches her arms out, and they're going to embrace, and at that minute he falls over, and we go back to the bridge, and he's basically hanging there. So the whole time that was basically created in his mind. He was either dreaming it or thinking it very quickly, and it all happened in that brief period of time when he was on the bridge. Now, you could argue and kind of call this ending a cheat, but because of the time period this was made, this wasn't as commonplace back then, and because of how well the whole episode is done and built up, I'm going to give it a pass on the ending. The twist works fine here. It's a typical Twilight Zone twist, and overall this is a unique episode. I would say it's definitely worth seeing if you're a fan of old TV and film, or even of silent cinema, because there's a lot of attributes of silent cinema in this episode as well. So overall, this episode is a success, and I give An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge a 4 out of 5. Definitely a unique episode to watch, so a 4 out of 5 for An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, and as always, thank you very much for watching.